Hi, welcome to Jamaican Cooking 101. Today we're making a special macaroni pie. It is special because it is made with pumpkin. So let me prep the ingredients and we'll be right back. Welcome back. So we're placing some water on the cooker to boil and we're going to be adding some salt just for flavoring, and we are also going to be adding some oil. Now this water is for boiling the pasta. Now the oil, once you place it in, it will prevent the pasta from clumping together, bunching up together. You don't put the pasta in until the water comes to a boil. So we have set that on and we're going to move on to introducing all the ingredients for this dish. So let's begin with the pumpkin. I have shredded some fresh pumpkin, I have butter, some chopped onions and chopped scallion and garlic. I also have some sweet peppers. I have the green ones and the red ones, and I've gone ahead to chop these. Alright, I also have on hand some dried parsley, and I dried these myself at home. I also have some flour, some milk, some pepper, and some breadcrumbs. And then we have some cheese. 3 different types of cheeses. We have mozzarella, white cheddar, and some parmesan. The dish we're going to be using is a normal casserole dish, a round one, or you could use some aluminum foil containers. Alright, so in the meantime, let us check on the water to see if it is ready for the pasta. It is. So let us go right ahead, pour all the pasta in, and we are going to stir. Because pasta is a starch, you find that if you cover the pot, it will come to a boil quickly and boil over. So you want to be watchful, keep a watchful eye on that. Now we're going to move on to preparing the cookware for the macaroni pie. We're baking it in a casserole dish, a Pyrex dish, and I'm using the butter to grease the dish, and then I'm going in with some breadcrumbs, and this is just like a cake. We want the breadcrumbs in because when we're finished, we want the macaroni pie to be able to come out of the container easily. We're going to be cutting it like a real pie. Alright, so I've dusted the sides and the bottom of the container. If you're using the aluminum foil containers, you do just the very same. Alright, now you can make your own breadcrumbs at home. If you have bread left over, you can pop them in the oven, and once they're dried out, you grate them or put them in the food processor and you get your own breadcrumbs. Alright, so now that we are finished preparing the bakeware, the dishes that we're going to put the macaroni pie in, we are going to move on to check on the pasta. Now you don't want the pasta to be overcooked, because remember, once it goes into the oven, it will be cooking for a little more time. So you just want the pasta to be cooked, not overly soft. I think there's a term called al dente, so make sure it's not overcooked, in other words. Now once it is cooked, I am going to be pouring it into the colander, and I've just shown you the type of colander I'm using. This is not a plastic one, it's a metal one, and you allow that to sit in the sink and drain the pasta. Now what we're going to be doing is to rinse off the pasta a little. It will stop the cooking process as well as it will rinse off some of the starch. Alright, now once you're finished with that, you want to make sure that you work on the sauce. So let's get a pan on and take it from here. So we're going to be using up all these vegetables, the milk, the flour, and the cheese. You can start off with the butter, and we're going to be making a simple roux, and then we move on to a bechamel, and then convert it to a cheese sauce. Alright, these terms might sound unfamiliar to you, But what it basically is preparing the sauce that's gonna go on the macaroni to keep it together, form some structure and all of that. All right, so we have the butter in and we're adding the chopped onions, and if you have some garlic you can add it here. Now this is not the normal method of making your roux, but I want the onions to be cooked off. I want the flavor to be infused. I don't want to put it in later on. Now remember, you don't have to chop your onions. You could grate them or blend them, or you could use onion powder or onion salt, and that would eliminate pieces or grits or particles in your macaroni and cheese. Now I'm going to be adding some sweet peppers, and remember we have some green ones and red ones. We're dividing this in half because I want to use some of the sweet pepper for later on in the dish. So I'm going to continue stirring and then add these sweet peppers and have them cooked through. And then we are going to be adding some scallion. I have some Scotch bonnet pepper chopped up inside here, and that will give a hint of, spiciness. Right, so you notice the colors already are becoming very vibrant, and this is not your regular roux sauce, but if you follow it this way, I'm certain you'll end up with a great result. But you can also use the traditional method. So I've added some of the milk, and now I'm adding flour. I've lowered the flame and I'm using a whisk. The whisk will help to prevent the flour from lumping up. So I'm adding milk as I go along and ensuring that I eliminate any opportunity of lumping. You might be thinking, oh my gosh, this is lumping up. But what you're seeing is actually the onions. All right. Now we're gonna continue adding flour and milk until it becomes thick. Once you've added all the flour and the milk, it will be time for you to go ahead and flavor it up a bit with some black pepper. You could also use white pepper. In fact, white pepper is the correct thing to use. But we want to give it a nice little flavor. So we've added some black pepper, and now I'm adding some shredded pumpkin. Now this pumpkin is not cooked, it is fresh pumpkin that I've shredded with the skin on. So I'm going in, making sure that I incorporate that into the already thickened mixture. So we have onion, butter, garlic, scallion, hot pepper, milk, flour, and now we have the pumpkin. So I'm giving that a taste, testing for salt and the spiciness. So we have to keep the flame lowered here because we don't want to burn our ingredients. Once we have had the pumpkin thoroughly cooked, we can go ahead and add the cheeses. But you want to keep some milk on hand just in case things become a little too thick. You can do some damage control. Alright, so I'm going in with some white cheddar, and then some mozzarella, and then some parmesan. Okay, if you don't have these types of cheeses, use the ones you have. I use these because the mozzarella has that stringy effect. The cheddar has that melting nice flavor, and the Parmesan has a nutty taste. Alright, so now I've added the pasta and it is time to give it a good stir. I've turned off the flame totally and I'm giving that a good stir. You're seeing that stretchiness of the mozzarella and the creaminess of the cheddar. Give that a good stir, and we had already prepared our baking tin, our baking dish, so we are gonna pour it in nicely. But I'm using a little technique here. I'm putting in some of the mixture, spread that out. You could use a wooden spoon or a spatula for this. Once you have gotten that all spread out nicely, we're going to layer some cheese and some sweet peppers and whatever else you want to add. I want to make sure that once I cut into this macaroni pie, I am having layers of colors and flavors. Alright, so go right ahead and add whatever cheese you like. Once I've gotten this layer finished off, I'm going to be adding the rest of the macaroni or the pasta mixture. Alright, then I'm going to spread it out again and top it off with some more of the breadcrumbs and cheese. I have another little technique here that I want to share with you. If you add breadcrumbs to the Parmesan cheese along with some dried parsley, it becomes heavenly. If you top the macaroni pie with some of this mixture, you find that it develops a nice color and a good crisp, and this is just, it takes the pie to another level. Alright, so I am putting in the dried parsley, getting that all mixed in, and then I'm going to sprinkle some on top. Alright, you might want to cover the macaroni pie once it goes into the oven, and then you take off the covering midway. Oh yes, we can add some paprika, and the paprika is for color. Alright, so I'm adding some more cheese to the top of the macaroni pie. Then I'm going right ahead to add my little mixture here and put it in the oven. Alright, it should be baking up no more than 15 to 20 minutes. What you want is for the cheese to melt in and for it to brown up a bit. Alright, so on average this macaroni pie should not take any long period of time, nothing more than an hour. Alright, so I have sprinkled this nice mixture on top, and I'm going to be placing it in the oven at 350. It could be lower based on the type of oven you've got. Alright, the electric ovens tend to heat up at a faster rate and they maintain a higher temperature. Alright, so I'm putting some of the mixture into individual aluminum containers. So if you're having a party, you could use this idea, right? I'm just giving it a quick tap so that everything shakes down and, you know, ready for baking up. So I was saying that you could use this for parties, christening. You could use this as finger food. So these little ones can take about 8 to 10 minutes to brown up and just finish up before taking them out of the oven. You could serve them in the cups as well as you could take them out. So I'm taking out the large one, and you can see some amount of browning has taken place where the cheese melted onto the breadcrumbs and it's looking real crispy and nice. Alright, so now I'm going to be adding some more of this special mixture. Remember, it's breadcrumbs, cheese, and some parsley. Now the heat that is already in the macaroni pie will melt down that cheese. Also going to be sprinkling some chopped sweet peppers and scallions. Alright, so once it has cooled down, we are going to take it out of the dish and cut it. Now guys, you can see how vibrant and beautiful this macaroni pie is. And once we cut into it, you're going to be able to see the pumpkin, right? The pumpkin has given the whole pie a very good color. All right, so let's take it out using a spatula or a turner, whatever you have on hand that will do the job. It should not be difficult to turn out. So I'm just going to place a cutting board over it and flip it over, and there we have it, almost like a cake. Right, so we're gonna allow it to cool down a bit before cutting into it. All right, now you could do this a day in advance, and you could do it in a square pan so that you can get it to cut up into squares, or you could use your cookie cutter and cut circles from it. Alright, so I'm going in, I'm giving myself a nice pretty slice. All right, so notice it is cutting just like a cake or a pie. That piece crumbled, but it's fine. I want you to take a good look at this. You're seeing bits of pumpkin inside of it. You're seeing melted cheese. You're seeing sweet peppers. I don't even have to tell you what you're seeing. Just imagine how good this is tasting. Alright, so guys, you definitely have to try this. This is called pumpkin macaroni and cheese. Go ahead and try it. Let us know how it turned out for you. And of course, you could add some more pumpkin if you like, or you could add less. But I think what we have done here is a perfect dish of pumpkin macaroni cheese pie. Alright, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend about it and enjoy cooking.